Welcome to your 10.1a notes. Today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into your factoring, and today we're going to factor things where you do have a number with your x squared. Up until today we've been avoiding putting a number there, so now we're going to take time to investigate what happens when there actually is one there. So first let's do a little review. Do a little review of what we've done so far. So up to this point, we should be able to factor something that looks like that. And the way that we do that is we kind of break up that 12. We ask ourselves, well, what could multiply to give us 12? Well, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, and that's kind of it. So when we want to break this up into the two parentheses, what we're always looking for these first two things to multiply to the x squared. Well, that's what made this process so easy, because it was always x and x that multiplied to give us that x squared. And then we just have to look for that combination. Which one of these combinations also added to give us 13? And what you'll notice is that combination would be the 1 and the 12, okay? Because 1x plus 12x, that's where that 13x is coming from if you were to kind of think of this as unfoiling. So today we're going to dive into making this a little bit harder. So our new content for today are going to be ones that look like this. 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. And the process is almost the same. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at, all right, what multiplies to give us 15? How can we break that down? Well, 3 and 5 or 1 and 15 would multiply to give us that 15. And when we look at getting our parentheses, that's what's kind of making this one a little bit more complicated, is now these two terms are forming the 2x squared. So this time an x squared and x squared isn't enough, or an x and an x isn't enough. What you want is a 2x and an x there, because those are going to match to give you the 2x squared that you're looking for. So once you recognize that, now we have to start putting these into place. Okay, so just like before, now our focus is going to go back onto those, and we need to figure out how to place those in there to eventually get us the 13x. But that's what's different about this, is we don't want them to add to 13 anymore, okay? Not with that 2x sitting in the first parenthesis. So let me show you what we actually are looking for. So let's suppose I think it's the 3 and the 5. Okay, so what you're checking is I need this 3x and that combination of 10x. So multiplying those two, and then what I want is these two values right here to add to give me the 13x. So again, think of foiling that thing out. That is where the 13 is coming from, those two bottom connections that I'm making. So that's how you're going to proceed from here on out, is you're going to be checking to see, all right, how can I get those connections to give me the 13x, instead of just thinking, how can I add them together? So let's do another example. So why don't you flip your sheet over and let's try another one. So 3x squared plus 11x plus 10. And just like always, let's first focus on how is that 10 going to break down? Well, the 10 can be 2 and 5 or 1 and 10. If I'm looking at making my two parentheses, this time I need a 3x squared. So that tells me I need a 3x and an x to start this off to give me that x squared. And now I'm going to focus back on these values right here. So now let's put our focus on those and start experimenting to see what we can make happen. So I'm going to try the 2 and the 5. So 2 and 5. And let's see if we get those proper connections, okay? I want connections that are ultimately going to give me that 11x. So I'm going to get a 2x and a 15x. Well, those don't add to give me the 11x. So what that means is this one is actually not the factoring that I'm looking for, okay? That didn't work. It didn't give me the correct middle number. So what that means is I need to experiment with something else. Okay, so I know it has to be the 3x and the x, but now let's mention what could we do to try different combinations. Well, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the 2 and the 5. Okay, because in reversing those, that's going to change those bottom combinations. So this is kind of just methodical guessing and checking until you get the combination that works. So this time I'm going to get a 5x from that combination and a 6x from that combination. 5x and 6x do give me the 11x that I was looking for. So what that tells me is this is the factoring that I've been looking for. So again, just checking all those combinations to see which way you can put the numbers to get them to work. So let's try, again, a slightly harder one. So here, now let's do 8x squared plus 14x plus 3. So for this one I gave you a really good deal. So the 3 can only break down into a 1 and a 3. So again, really good deal here that that's the only combination. But this time what I've done is I've made this front piece a little more complicated. Okay, because that front piece, how can I get an 8x squared? Well, here actually, there's two ways to make that happen. I could have 8x and x, or that could be a 4x with a 2x. So in this circumstance, this time there's actually two different models that I could be using to find this proper combination. But just like before, now I'm just going to start putting those numbers in and seeing which one I can make work. So I'm just going to start tossing in 1 and 3. And let's see if I can get that 14x. So here I get 1x and 24x. So that one's not going to work for me. Okay. Now let's try reversing it then. So remember, if that didn't work, let's try reversing the 3 and the 1. So this time, let me do it in blue again. I get 3x and 8x. Still not giving me 14x. So that one, once again, did not end up working. So trying both of those combinations shows me that 8x and x is not really the combination that I'm looking for. So now I'm going to shift gears to that right-hand side. I'm going to start plugging numbers in here. So let's try 1 and 3 on this side. See if I can get a combination that works. So here's 2x and 12x. If you notice, this time we've hit the jackpot. Okay, this time we did find what we needed. That does give us the 14x in the middle. So this is really the factoring that I was looking for. So now that you've seen all of this, now to wrap up these notes, what I'd like you to do is in that summary spot, I would like you to put 5x squared plus 13x plus 6. And before you come up to show me these notes, what I'd like you to do is please do that one on your own, okay? So try that one, factor properly, so when you come and have me check off your notes, that should have a right answer for it. So thank you for your time. Make sure you do that and then come up and show me that you finished your notes and this example.